Hey guys, my name is Nick and welcome to my channel where I cover all things entertainment. Whatever you're watching, I'm making videos about. We've got a whole bunch of new movies on Netflix, so let's break down the best of them so you don't miss any of that good stuff. I'll tell you right now, there's gonna be a link in the description box for a list of everything coming to Netflix this month, but there's just like a million Netflix originals. They just keep popping that stuff out faster than I can keep track of it, but they actually advertise those, so I'm going to highlight some of the smaller stuff, that way it doesn't slip under your radar. Starting on the first, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind is a romantic dramedy starring Jim Carrey as a man who is trying to erase the memory of his ex-girlfriend. So he goes to this special clinic to have his mind wiped, and we go on this adventure of his romantic memories as they disappear from his brain one by one. As I mentioned in my summer movies video, the original Jurassic Park trilogy is now on Netflix. I love these movies. We all love these movies. Who cares if Jurassic Park 3 sucks? I'll still watch it. Mr. Deeds is one of the few Addams Sandler movies that I actually like. And in this one, Sandler plays a small town guy who inherits a large part of a major company. So he moves to the big city to start his new life, and Winona Ryder is blonde in it. It's very interesting. Oceans 12 and 13 are heist comedies featuring stacked cast as characters who are constantly swindling millions of dollars and somehow always get away with it. These are movies my mom watches. Mad Max is a revenge thriller classic, and in it Mel Gibson plays the titular hero of Mad Max, a cop in a dystopian Australia who goes from trying to protect the peace to an all-out revenge mission against a motorcycle gang of terrorists. The Ugly Truth is a romantic comedy starring Katherine Heigl and Gerard Butler, so do we even need to go there? The Neverending Story 1 and 2, these fantasy adventure movies for kids follow a young boy who transports himself into the mystical land of a storybook. These movies are either your childhood or they are not, and they are not my childhood. The Addams Family is a comedy about a ghoulish family who must fend off con artists, and if for some reason you saw that animated reboot from last year, well, you probably need a palate cleanser. Dennis the Menace is a kid's movie about this little shit who is constantly playing pranks on all of the neighbors around him, but it's funny and adorable. I remember wanting to be Dennis the Menace when I was a kid, so I don't really know what that says about me. Elizabeth Harvest is a dramatic thriller about a young woman married to a much older man who spends her days lounging around a secluded mansion with little idea of why she is there. And I don't want to spoil anything, but I will tell you it is basically a modern Blackbeard story, and I found it interesting. The concept is interesting, but I wasn't entirely in love with the execution. An Education is a coming-of-age story set in 1960s England and stars Carey Mulligan as a young woman who falls for the much older Peter Sarsgaard. Yes, another creepy one already. This movie was nominated for Best Picture, and I'm pretty sure Carey Mulligan even won a BAFTA, and her performance is fantastic in it. There is a lot of good in this movie as far as the technical aspects, but as I'm looking back on it, I feel like this was always looked at as one of those like coming-of-age love stories, and I'm like, this is a movie about grooming. Like, is that noted? Hardcore Henry is an incredibly over-the-top action spectacular shot from the perspective of an enhanced badass hero, Henry, who is on a mission to save his wife from a bad guy. It pretty much feels like a video game as he runs from one action sequence to the next. You know, maybe we'll see a lot more movies like this in the future, but personally, I found it to be way too much. It felt like I was dosed with an upper, and then like I reached the point where I would like it to wear off, but then it just kept happening and my heart was pounding out of my chest and I was sweating everywhere and it was awful. Remember Me is a romantic drama starring Robert Pattinson as a dude who falls in love with the chick and don't expect a happy ending. What Keeps You Alive is an excellent horror thriller about two women on their honeymoon at an old family cabin in the middle of the woods, and one of them begins to believe that her new wife is not actually who she says she is. That is all I'm gonna say. Just trust me, go along for the ride. It is so good. It does get pretty bloody, so watch out, but I love What Keeps You Alive. It's one of my favorite underseen horror films of the last few years. Definitely check this out, because I'm hoping this movie blows up on Netflix. Seabiscuit is the true story of a small racehorse who inspired the nation during the Great Depression. And all I can think of looking at this is that we're gonna need a lot more than a racehorse to get us through the next depression. A Knight's Tale is a medieval comedy starring Heath Ledger as a peasant who rises the ranks of knighthood, and there's plenty of jousting action and all that fun stuff in case you're missing out on your local Renaissance fair. Being John Malkovich is a mind-bending dramedy about a group of people who discover that by passing through a doorway, they can actually become actor John Malkovich for a short period of time. This is not just a wacky, wild idea, it actually is a really well-done film as a whole, so if you can keep an open mind, definitely send yourself down the rabbit hole. Jumping to the 8th, we get one of my favorite movies from this year or last year, depending on how you count release dates, but We Summon the Darkness is an 80s set horror comedy about a group of punk rock chicks heading to a concert where they meet a group of punk rock boys that they decide to go party with, and then things get kinda satanic. And I'm not gonna say anything, I don't really wanna get into it. You have to, of course, go for the ride on this one, but I really enjoy it. I know a lot of people really did not enjoy this movie. I know that there is a split amongst audience members. I personally think this is horror comedy done right for me personally, so if you like, I guess, like bitchy horror is kind of the subcategory I would put it in, you might enjoy it. At least give it a shot. Moving to the 10th, we get another good one, and that is Nightcrawler, a dramatic thriller starring Jake Gyllenhaal as this grifter type in LA trying to break into the world of local journalism by filming crime scenes and then selling the footage to local news stations. And it's really interesting in the way he ends up becoming involved in crimes and whatnot. It really should be seen if you missed it. On the 12th, Scary Movie 5 is added to Netflix, and this is of course a parody of most horror films, including Paranormal Activity, and honestly, it's probably the one in the series that I just can't even with. I'm sorry, but if you don't have Anna Faris, it's a no from me. On the 13th, we get Safety Not Guaranteed, a quirky little comedy about a group of journalists, including Aubrey Plaza, who head out to meet a man who has placed a classified ad looking for someone to time travel with. Has he actually figured out how to time travel? You'll have to watch to find out for yourself. But this movie was directed by Colin Trevorrow, who is now behind the Jurassic World movies, and this is basically why he is a person in Hollywood now, and I'd say this is the best thing that he's actually done, but you'll want to see it. On the 16th, we get a trio of trash, starting with Johnny English, a parody of 007 movies with Rowan Atkinson, and you know what? I like my parodies, but no. And the Academy Award-winning Les Miserables, the musical tale of poor French people in the 1800s that features a bunch of people I never want to hear sing again. I thought this movie was terribly boring and uneven, but if you're a fan of the story, you might want to watch it anyway. But we're not done, because we also have the box office bomb Seventh Son, a fantasy adventure movie about a monster hunter and his apprentice taking on an evil witch, and I've honestly only heard the worst things, so I'm just passing on the warning, just to stay away. On the 17th, we get Drunk Parents, a comedy starring Alec Baldwin and Salma Hayek as a pair of drunks trying to convince everyone around them that they aren't actually poor, and sounds absolutely awful. On the 23rd, we get One Bedroom, a thriller that I have been wanting to see for a while now. I was planning on renting it, but now that it's coming to Netflix, I'm just gonna wait. I have stayed away for most of the information around it because I like to go into movies as blind as I can, so maybe I'll do a review for it once it's on Netflix. The Frozen Ground is a thriller based on real-life serial killer Robert Hansen, played in the movie by John Cusack, who is tracked down by a state trooper played by Nicolas Cage. And you know, it does border on direct-to-video quality, and obviously I know, it's a Nicolas Cage movie. It sounds bad, but I have to say, I actually enjoy this one. I've watched it a few times, and it kind of grows on me more and more. It's no Silence of the Lambs, but it is a really interesting true crime thriller. So if you're familiar with the case and you're interested in seeing a movie version of it, there's enough here for me to recommend. And if you can't wait to watch it, it's on Hulu right now, in case you're interested. And on the 31st, we get both Casino Royale and Quantum of Solace, the first two Daniel Craig James Bond movies. And since we do have his last James Bond movie coming out in 2020. So if you're looking to catch up, this is the perfect opportunity. I gotta tell you, I binged the James Bond movies back in like April. I just love James Bond so much. This was like my franchise as a kid. And I have to admit, I actually was not really a fan of Casino Royale. I mean, certainly not a fan of Quantum of Solace either, but rewatching Casino Royale, I see it. It's amazing. It's fantastic. It's so good. That is my list, you guys. Thank you so much for watching this video. Again, there's that link in the description box so you can see what Netflix originals are coming this month. Maybe find some requests for me if there's anything you want me to cover. I'm looking forward to that. Project Power? Is that a movie or a series? I don't even remember. I'm sorry, but you know where they take a pill and get superpowers? Looks super good. I'm interested in that. So hopefully we get some good stuff this month besides the few gems that I've listed. If you didn't check out my video on the stuff that's leaving Netflix this month, definitely check that out. Let me know what your favorites are and what you're looking forward to seeing come to Netflix. Thank you again so much for watching this video. Like it, share it with your friends, subscribe to watch this now because I've got a whole bunch of recommendation videos coming to you for the month of August. There's a whole bunch of good stuff for us to watch. Oh, I just love it. Thanks again. That is all for this video, but I won't stop you from watching another.